We went with the Harvest King 20.8 38 tire. The dual rims are factory this tractor. They are 18-inch wide rims. Someone had replaced the insides with 16-inch wide rims, so it's either get new duals or get new inners and go 18s or 20.8. So I had to make the choice. I wanted to go with the bigger rubber, so we went 20.8 by 38 and replaced the inner rims. Kept the original duals, sandblasted, repainted, looked pretty good. And the reason we went with the Harvest King tires is when this tractor came out in 1972 from the John Deere's doors, this tractor would have either had Firestones or Goodyears, and the Goodyears I think were a Dynatorque, and the Firestones were what they call the traction field and road, which are no longer available from Firestone. They were the first 23-degree tread pattern. There is a company called Crop Max, which does, I think they actually might have bought like the mold design, but the Harvest Kings are very, very, very similar. Not a restored tractor, but I wanted to keep it as absolutely original looking as possible. And yes, there is a bias tire, and yes, they are much, much cheaper, but they give the tractor a very original look. And because this is a very low use tractor in our farm, they'll be just fine. And obviously we added the weights. And I am very happy with the way the 4620 turned out. I think the tires look great on there. And other operations going on around our farm right now. We have sprayed our corn. We had a little time with some rain to work on the tractor. All grain. Now it's drying out again. Start mowing hay. Much more tonnage in the hay this year than there was last year, so the hay cutting is off to a good start. However, our hay business could be changing in the future, which you guys will have to wait and watch to see what happens. Or you can go over to my second channel and find out more regarding the hay market from an economic standpoint. Running this R450 is one of my favorite jobs of the year. I thoroughly enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy putting up hay. I've been very pleased with the machine. This is a 2010 John Deere R450. The R450 used the 70 series combine cab, which was one of my favorite cabs ever produced by John Deere. It was not the biggest, but it was very quiet, an excellent air circulation, and I thoroughly enjoy it. We're going to mow this border here and down around into the lower hayfield there. This cab, we did add the sun visor, which was not available to a Windrower, but ironically, because it is a combine cab, we just went to the combine parts and we were able to get it. And this is a concocted cab because in a combine you have a little different corner post here, whereas this uses an 8R corner post. And the console over here is the same, and you can see where the display or the little gauge cluster would have went. And if this was a D450, they made 3 of these actually, the A450, or maybe it was A400, the R, which is what this is, which was rotary head, and they made the D, which was essentially the same machine, had little different pile drives, and you actually push a combine head for cutting like canola. Now they would have had the display here, which would run the header. And then we have a reconfigured hydro controller, same thing as a combine steering wheel, and then we have a concocted push button panel, which I'm not real thrilled with how they did, because if I want like fan, I have to click fan. It will display up here, and then I use my turn dial to turn the fan up or down. And if I want to use temperature, I click temperature, it displays up there, then I use my dial to dial it down. You use the dial to do everything. You activate it and then use the dial, which I think they could have done a little handier job. Something interesting to the Windrowers, because these are not they're not like anything else, they steer with the 2 front wheels. I actually have a little pointer down here attached to the steering column. You can see that. And we're in the green, which means we're in the center. You have to be in the center to see it. You can see the steering wheel, it's like locked. It doesn't really move. When you run, it isn't like a combine where you turn around at the end of the row. You just move a little bit. So we'll turn the header on here, and then we'll bring it down with this button. And what's normally on a combine, as far as your 1, 2, 3s, on this is actually the throttle. So we'll go up here to operating, and now we'll go. There's your header pressure and your engine RPM. size build here. There's some rocks in here. This machine has the 995 head, which is a rotary cutter head with an impeller conditioning system. We rebuilt this header. Generally speaking, you'll wear out a couple, maybe even 3 heads for one tractor unit, and they are serial numbered separate as they're sold separately. Again, this is the R450. This is turbocharged 414 engine, as well as the D450 is also the 414, with the A model being the same tractor, but it's hard to operate one-handed here. But the A model was a sickle bar header with a reel, and I think, I don't know for certain because I'm not in that industry, but I think they use those where they're like running grass, like one like a grass seed or something like that. So they consider it to be a little more gentle on the crop. I'm not totally sure, but I do know that that A series machine was essentially the same tractor, but it had a smaller engine. I think it was a 276, if I remember right. 4-cylinder versus 6-cylinder. The model that replaced this machine was called an R2. I think it's R, maybe a W. Might have been a W. It's a 235. I only had 2 sizes of a 235 and a 260. And the 235 would be in this machine's size, whereas the 260 was the same machine but added horsepower. And now that everything's switching over to the X9 cabs, which I'm sure the combines will be following suit. I think they're using up their 13.5 liter engines and their current combine cabs, but you'll be seeing a switch in those as well to an X9 cab. I'm certain they will. And I got a feeling they'll call it like an X8 machine. It'll have a new body panel or something like that. The basic machine will be the same as the 700 series combine. They usually run things about every 5 years, I've noticed. But as you're seeing the shift to that new X9 cab, which it's the same cab as the 700 series combine, it's a little different interior, moved a few things around. But they do a new series of Windrower out that utilizes that cab. And they are selling that Windrower with different horsepower availabilities. They even have an economy model, which would be actually more competitive to the size of this particular machine. Some of the smaller John Deere Windrowers are actually MacDons. Additionally, they have a new center pivot machine out, and it's also using the same head as the Windrower. It's just throwing it on a dolly frame to pull the tractor versus pushing it with the self-propelled. This is a John Deere 560R HC squared, mega wide. Mega wide means it's got the wide pickup. HC squared means it's got crop cutter, which you can engage and disengage the knives here. This is a 6 foot tall by 5 foot wide bale. Weights up to 2,200 pounds, but weight is very subjective on the material that you're baling. This does have the A520R accumulator on the rear. And there goes the 4620 loading bales on the bale trailer that I improved a year ago. The bale trailer has worked out real well with the improvements I made on it. The tractor works pretty good to load hay with, and that cab is sealed up nice, and even on a 100-degree day like today, it's very cool and comfortable inside because we have the air conditioning working top-notch, every bit as good as a Soundguard body. As to if that tractor will stay on that loader permanently is yet to be determined. I would maybe like to go a little different direction there, but for the time being it's working, and we can move that loader around to a different tractor at a different time if we so choose. The trailer holds 6 bales with 2 over the wheels plus 1 over top. You can usually get 9 on it. If not, to stack it all the way up for a total capacity of about 11. Although we prefer not to go that direction because we are hauling in and out of some pretty steep fields. So generally speaking, we haul 8 to 9. Then we can haul one on the front loader, which makes pretty short work out of hauling hay. I really do enjoy this baler. Just works fantastic. It's a clean pickup. It bales well. The bales are tight. They're even. The net wrapper never fails. The baler is hard to plug. Just a winning combination. John Deere's done a top-notch job with it. The only place of improvement that I would suggest would be in their pickup. You do occasionally have to replace a few more tines and I would like to see have to be replaced. And yes, paired with the John Deere new 8R tractor, I can run in baler automation mode, which you can activate your Pi here, and then you can preset a speed and then hit auto track and it will go ahead and activate and run. Now, I'm not using that because the downfall to that system is it goes to a preset speed, and out here in rough conditions like this, I'm changing my speed continuously. Prop you guys up on the rear window there, where you can see the baler and the hay feed into it. The baler pickup is extended because this is the HC squared model, which means it's a crop cutter, which I can engage and disengage those knives with literally a push of a button, as well as the floor that transitions to the knives is on another linear actuator. If you were to plug it, I can just hit the button, drop the floor down, and it'll spit a plug right out. I personally think with that rotor in there and being the pickups out towards the front, I like that pickup out in the front because I can see it better and I can see that hay feed up there better. And I like the fact that it lifts the baler up and gives it a taller profile too. The A520 accumulator in the back, I would probably not order if I were to have bought this baler. We're going down through a big old swale here. A little rough. Bear with. It's working great. Pickup flows good. Again, I would change the tooth design, but overall, pretty good machine. And I like the way that rotor feeds. I'm not running knives disengaged right now, but I can literally push a button and engage them for a pre-cut. This is alfalfa. Did not get rained on. Pretty good hay. And yielding pretty good tonnage. We're going to spit this bale out here in just a sec. And that'll conclude the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, by the way, you leave this baler running as you spit your bale out. Put the door back down and everything goes right back to working. Pretty cool.